return from exec
Second.
at 6:14.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
All right, there is nothing coming out of exec, so we will return back to our public session of the Clayton Township Board of Trustees meeting. First order of business is new business, so I will take it over to Lisa.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to impose a 10% penalty on late bed tax turned in to Plain Township.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
I think just this has been a consistent battle for, it's safe to say 15, 20, however many years, and unfortunately, it's a couple set regular violators that,
Yeah, but I'm spending my time chasing them down, then it gets to Eric, he's sending a letter, then another letter, and then finally they'll come in and pay. This gives them, let's say, taxes collected in January, to give you an idea, will be paid no later than the last day in February, which still gives plenty of time. But
Yes.
it's that
And
first
let
day
me
in
add,
March.
this is unique, because this isn't a business waiting on this income.
Correct.
It's in the
It's in our
bill,
hands.
okay?
Yes.
So when they get it,
Yeah.
it's not supposed to go anywhere but here.
Mhm.
So it's to give them that much time is almost too much, but it's still a way to kind of expedite things.
And
Yeah.
10% is defined within the law.
It is the cap.
It
It's
is
the
the cap.
statutory cap.
Because we were at 6 and nobody cared.
Yeah.
And you know, when you check in a hotel, you are paying that
Oh,
hotel
absolutely.
tax, like Eric said, right up front. So that money is sitting there, and that check you have at least 30 days to cut it to us, so the.
Basically getting interest off of our money.
Right.
And I will send a letter with a copy of the resolution to all the hotels and give them a 30-day, we'll start in March.
Perfect. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's the end of new business.
Thank you, Lisa. There is nothing under the sheriff's report, so we'll turn it over to Tom with the fiscal officer report.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize payment of pending warrants in the amount of $120,607.50.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $350,000.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved?
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is a resolution to authorize the following transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That concludes the Fiscal Officer report.
Thank you, Tom. Now I'll turn it back over to our administrator, Lisa.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to Sarshone for a 2025 Dodge Truck Durango 4-wheel drive not to exceed $42,760.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion.
This is to replace a 2011 detective's vehicle.
2017.
2017, I said 11,
That was
17.
the Nitro. That was the other one.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to Hall Public Safety Upfitters not to exceed $6,442.64 for the Dodge 2025 Durango.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution for payment to Canton Data Print for the spring 2025 newsletter.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's the end of the administrator report.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll now turn it over to Chief.
Okay, thank you. Item number 1 is our 2024 annual report. On, I think it's like page 3, for some reason the total calls didn't get, I mean, it's there, but it got cut off, but it's 5,797, not 579.
That's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing I was gonna say is our smoke detector program from our grant, we're up to, it's actually higher than that now even, but we've installed about 850 smoke detectors in houses from that grant.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Is that burn camp where all those trucks are?
Yes, yeah, that's the one at Portage
Yeah.
Lakes, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Safety City Games, how cute. If anybody has any questions for Chief, please see him after.
All right, thank you. Item number 2 is resignation by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to accept the resignation of Elizabeth Robinson as a part-time firefighter EMT effective January 14th.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department.
Thank you, Chief. We'll now turn it over to the road department. Drew?
Thank you. Item number 1 is the 2024 Road Department Annual Report.
Some impressive stats overall.
Yes.
Yeah, we did a good job.
And securing the easements.
I mean,
Maria?
we knew this, but when you look at the amount of time, we have a relatively young
Yes.
road crew.
I thought that was important to put in there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We're very, very young.
Well, you dropped from 14 to 9 to 6 to 5 to 4 to a couple 2s, a 1 and a 6 month.
Yeah.
Because we had some long-standing
Yeah.
employees retire.
But I think for the public's sake, just because we've gotten younger in age experience, the skill set,
It's still there.
our skill set is
We have a-
there.
A pretty intensive training program. We're still down 1 road department tech also, you know, because we're used to working with 12, we're at 11 still.
For a good part of your year, you only had 60% of your workforce.
Excellent, thank you, Drew. If anybody again has questions for him, please see him after. Go ahead.
Road item number 2 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to K-Tech Specialty Coatings Incorporated for beet heat concentrate liquid deicer not to exceed $10,000.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 3 is a resolution to authorize purchase of payment to Southeastern Equipment Company Incorporated for a KM 8000T asphalt hot box trailer not to exceed $42,705.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
It's about time.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I mean, it just makes sense that, you know, there's certain times of the year that, you know, you go over there to get it. You don't wanna get too much, cause it'll go to waste, but if you don't get enough, and it just makes sense to have this thing.
Yeah, no one local makes the hot cold mix.
Yeah.
So we have to drive to Massillon, which could be an hour and a half turnaround to get
Yeah.
there and back, you know.
So glad that we're bringing this in.
Yeah, for those in the audience, will you explain what a hot box is?
So, a hot box is basically, a container that's on a trailer that is heated with a diesel burner, and it keeps asphalt hot. It holds, 4 ton. So we can go to the asphalt plant, get material, whatever we don't use, we could set a timer on it, you know, keep it at 200 to 300 degrees overnight and use it again the next day or even the day after that. So we're not wasting any material at that point.
I think it's important, I mean, just as a side note, especially your scholarship, hot mix versus cold mix. Cold mix is significantly more than
Yeah.
hot
it
mix,
is-
so being able to stretch it and
Yeah.
preserve it for longer is all
And
the
it
more.
doesn't do anything good for your roads, it actually deteriorates the road.
Yeah.
It's not, it's just like it's not
It's
permanent.
like putty.
It's like putty, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like-
I mean, it fills the gap, but eventually it
It's
goes
like that
away.
kinetic
Deteriorates
sand.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cold mix, yeah.
Roll call?
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 4 is a resolution to authorize purchase of payment to Cargill Incorporated for road salt, pricing $43.70 a ton per Plain Township's membership with the Community University Education Purchasing Council of Governments, amount not to exceed $17,480.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So the good news is we have plenty of storage.
Yes.
So that helped, and we have access to it. You hear all these other, a lot of these other political subdivisions, they've run out already.
Right.
So, good job on that. That's forward thinking, by the way.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you, that concludes the road.
Thank you, Drew. We will now turn over to the zoning department. Tom?
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 1 is the annual report.
Keeping busy as always, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely summertime's our busiest as always. Okay, if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, please see him after. Go ahead.
Item number 2 is a resolution declaring items A and B as nuisance abatements.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That concludes zoning.
Thank you, Tom. This will be now Parks.
Thanks.
Sure.
My one and only item is the annual report.
And I love that cover picture.
Yeah.
It's a good one. With the light, or with the
Yeah.
sunset behind it.
I was out for dinner Saturday night and heard people back at the bistro already, just overheard them talking about what shows they were gonna buy tickets for, so it's
Yeah.
so cool, because honestly, one of the people, I think they must have come over as guests, and it's like, this is nice. They literally had no clue of clearly what it's been before, so it's.
I think we've sold out fire pits for most concerts.
Yeah, we're
selling a lot
halfway
of
through
season
our
tickets.
bids. We're at 140 season passes already, as you can see in the annual report.
Yeah.
So it was 160 all of last year, so the buzz is finally caught on. We're excited.
Over 7,000 tickets sold our first year.
Mhm.
All right, as always, if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, please see Rob after. Go ahead.
That's all I have for today.
All right, thank you, Rob. Nothing under law director, and I will turn it back over to Lisa for communications.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a communication from Ben Leisure of the Henry Cemetery Association, who writes, on behalf of the Henry Cemetery Association, I'd like to express sincere appreciation to Chief Charles Schallenberger and the entire Plain Township Fire and Rescue team for their invaluable support of the Wreaths Across America event at the Henry Wursler Cemetery. Chief Schallenberger's leadership in coordinating with Plain Township Rotary, Plain Township Historical Society, along with overseeing planning, setup, execution, and cleanup, was instrumental to the success of this event. Thanks to the dedication and hard work of Plain Township firefighters, we achieved our goal of placing 415 wreaths, ensuring that every veteran's grave at Henry Wursler Cemetery was honored. These efforts were essential in ensuring each veteran was remembered with the respect they deserve. The department's commitment to honoring our local veterans truly exemplifies the spirit of service for which Plain Township is known for. We look forward to continued collaboration in the years ahead as we honor those who have served.
I couldn't have said it any better. That is, and it's so true. You do it every year, and
Is that Ben from Canton Fire?
Yeah, well,
He-
yeah,
He's also a Canton firefighter.
yeah, his dad.
So, yeah, his dad is the
I'm not sure, the
caretaker.
caretaker.
Yes, his dad's a
Yeah,
caretaker.
of and Ben works at the cemetery
Yeah.
too.
Very nice, very nice.
okay, this is, we've reached the portion of the meeting where it's the public speaking segment, and we welcome any audience member who wishes to address the board. You may refer to our public speaks format that is located on the back desk. You can approach the podium or stay seated, whichever you prefer. Please provide your name and address to the fiscal officer to be included in the minutes. Please note that in accordance with the Plain Township's regulations, each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to ensure all viewpoints are heard effectively, fostering fairness and accommodating diverse perspectives within the allotted time frame. Keep in mind that this is not a question and answer format, but an opportunity to speak. The board respects the rights of citizens to present differing opinions, views, and criticism. Both the board and citizens are expected to respect the comments of others while maintaining the highest level of decorum. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board? Okay, you can stay in your seat or you can come up to the podium, whichever you prefer.
Whichever you guys can see me better.
Oh, we can see you. You're
Yeah,
fine.
Just state your name.
Yeah.
Name and address to the board, or to the fiscal officer, please.
My name is Mary Ann Krabos. My husband and I live at Ripple Avenue Northwest. We've been Plain Township residents for over 60 years. and I'm here tonight to discuss the letter of aggregation we got recently regarding the utilities. And, excuse me, I've never addressed a board before, and I had a little emergency before I came here, so I'm not quite prepared, but I'll try to get my 3 minutes in. What I'm opposed to is the fact that we are already controlled and issued into this channel, whereas the only way we have a choice of selecting or keeping our own electric company is by opting out. I would like the board to look at this at maybe a different meeting and see about whether we could be sent letters, whereas we can opt in. And examples of that are other aggregators who have sent us letters and tell us what they have, and they give their website, etc. Some of them even give you a reward if you go to their company. But what I don't like about this is we residents, we appreciate everything that everyone has done for us, educated our children, protect our house and property with the police departments and fire departments, because they've done an excellent job at our home. But the fact that we cannot keep, I mean, you're not aware of your utilities being changed if you never got this letter, or you're maybe concerned that it's swishing or phishing or whatever. There's so many scams going out this day and age, you don't know what is really happening. I am alert to this. This did happen when I was, had about 8 surgeries in last year. While I was hospitalized, I was able to see the mail, fortunately, at that time. It gives you a deadline. If you don't abstain to this deadline, that's sorry, but you're already in there. So I did call the administration office and found out that this was apparently voted in 2011. And if I'm wrong about this, you can go back to your former or your past notes from the meetings to find out how was this put in where we vote for this. People who were on the board then, I mean, maybe dead or moved away, maybe one of you were here at that particular time in 2011. If so, I think it should be revised, that it needs to be on our ballots where they voted for it, to be a choice, or whether the board can make a choice on their own. That is my concern.
Well, thank you for coming out. Again, it was voted on in 2011, and actually it was specifically voted on as an opt-out. And we did a number of information and educational sessions at that point on opt-out versus opt-in, because if you do the opt-in, if folks are concerned about rates right now, they'd be even higher on the opt-in versus the opt-out. As far as how it's structured, you can always opt out at any point at no cost. That's a significant difference to a lot of what's on the Ohio PUCO site, where some of these offers, they may offer a slightly lower rate, but then there's monthly fees, there's cancellation fees and so forth. And I know in some communities they may say, oh, well, the community gets a grant back. I can tell you, Plain Township does not take a grant back to our community through this, and the reason being, it's nothing more than the utility company baking it into their rate and then passing it through to us. So, I mean, this differs really no different than the county's gas aggregation program, which has been in place even longer yet. I don't know, is there anything?
Yeah, what I always tell people is it was voted on as an opt-out, but you can opt in and out at any time, and it just gives everybody another choice. And I know the rate did go up, but you can check daily on the PUCO for similar to check rates. Again, you will find some lower, but they have an additional monthly fee, or they may have an early termination, or you may luck out and find a better rate, and we hope you can find a better rate. But it is just a choice. I do want to say that groups who are just getting their bids back right now are in the same range that we are, so they're still coming in, and that's why the board only selected to do 14 months instead of last time we did 4 or 5 years because the rate was so good. We wanted for as long as possible. This time is 14 months because we're hoping at some point the energy prices come down. But at any time you can opt in, you can opt out, and then decide, oh boy, this isn't what I thought, you can opt back in, there's no fees, and it just gives residents another choice. But it was voted on as an opt-out, and that's why it's an opt-out.
And it was in the newsletter.
I'm not here about the rate, I could care less what the rate is. My purpose is because of the choice, that residents are forced into this. Even people who are going to buy property in Plain Township, are they aware of this vote that has been done in the past? Why can't it be done for, I mean, Perry Township has where you have to opt into it, not opt out. And my expression is because it gives residents the choice, not just
Yeah.
automatically.
But you
You
still
still have that
you
choice.
still have a you still have
Yeah,
a
but if you
choice.
don't get the letter, if I had not got the letter, or if other people don't get it, they have no idea. Some people are so busy, they just hire secretaries at their house and they just sign things.
But at any
With
time,
all
if they
due- with
figure
all
it
due
out,
respect.
they can opt out. There's no penalty. At any time, they can opt out.
And with all due respect, if somebody's got a secretary or somebody else handling it, again, there's a degree of responsibility on each individual. And literally what we're talking about is a fraction of pennies here. And there's market rate force adjustments. If we didn't even have the aggregation, guaranteed your rates are gonna be significantly higher. So the fact that, I mean, no different than we put different levies before the community, this is something that we didn't make in a vacuum. A majority of the Plain Township public voted in the affirmative to adopt this method.
Is it true in 2011?
Yeah,
Was an addendum to that is to be revised every 5 years, or is it for eternity?
it'll be for that, it's essentially in place unless somebody wants to go run some type of ballot measure where you would have to work with the Board of Elections to determine criteria and circulate petitions and so forth. But what I would challenge you with in that train of thought is, I mean, at the county level, with the gas aggregation programs, probably gone on 2 to 3 times even longer than.
I'd say 2 times.
Yeah.
Well, and there is an option. If you don't want to receive those to be in an aggregate, you can go on the PUCO website and there is a do not aggregate form that you can fill out, and you'll never get any aggregate. You won't get the counties, you won't get Plain Townships, you
I
won't,
understand
it's an opt-out of aggregate.
I guess I'm speaking for the people who are not here, or elderly people, or people who are, not just able to understand it, or new people that move into the area. Are they given this information? That's all, just so that people can have a choice and then just not be controlled. That's all.
Thank you.
What's that?
Yeah, all the information's on our website.
So anybody that moves in to the township, it is on our website if they're going to look and to tell them. And then we also did put it out in our newsletter.
I wonder why,
Or newspaper, sorry.
why is it that other townships choose the opposite?
Not
Every
everyone
township's
does. I
different.
mean,
It depends on when they did it at the time, and depends on what their logic was when they did it.
10 years.
Ours, what we understood
That's
was,
good that it's going
you're
on.
gonna
It's good
get
to-
a better inclusion of more people.
And so a
If-
better rate.
And
You get a
so
lower rate.
therefore, the more people, the lower the rate.
Yes, that is good.
So that, at whoever was on the board at that time, looked at it as a better option for the taxpayers that they were voting on in the aggregation program.
Thank you.
So it was kind of like, better for the masses, I guess, if you will.
Okay, we don't have anything under comments of concerns of trustees.
don't we have a
We
mandatory speech
do.
speaking for scholarship
And
applicants?
except for our scholarship applicants, we ask for at least a 2 to 3 minute speech.
What's the dissertation on the township form of government? In driving a global economy.
No,
Just
just
teasing,
kidding.
we're teasing, we're teasing.
He's like, no,
He was ready, by the way. He was ready.
I love it.
I'm in speech and debate.
Yeah, thanks for-
Oh, now we gotta hear
Yeah, thanks for your bravery, but it's not a prerequisite.
We'll be happy to sign for you.
Yeah.
Whatever after the meeting.
We're all signing. Okay, I would like to adjourn the meeting, make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:39.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mrs.
Yes.
Sarlis?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.